And he's not alone in saying that.
Hey, he likes Obama's health care, saying he says he's against it, but he helped write it. But we got to do what the Supreme Court said, and the IRS taxing us isn't a tax. And it's a standard. NDAA, he supports secret arrest, drone killing, endless war, warrantless wiretappings, open borders, carbon taxes. He's bought and paid for by the exact same people. Bain's given double the money that he's part owner of and used to head to Obama than they even gave him. Mitt Romney. So, I mean, Mitt Romney it's just the fix is in. If they don't steal the election, they don't need to. Yep. They got Mitt Romney. They win whether they steal it, whether Obama gets in, whether it's Mitt Romney. I mean, Mitt Romney might as well be, I got an idea. How about Mitt Romney be VP for Obama? Joe Biden can get out of there and we'll just, I mean, it's just, but it's like, but we're beating Obama. We're going to get Mitt Romney in there.
Yeah, of course. Did you see that cartoon we had on InfoWars today? It was the sheep, and it was like, whichever way you choose, and it all funneled into the same place.
I didn't see it, but yeah.
Fits into that. Vaughn comes to you, and he asked, Alex, I'm curious to get your take on the inevitable emerging cloning technology and the implications on society.
Well, clones have inherent genetic problems, and it's all part of humanity playing God. Just like an iPhone has tech built into it that you pay for when you buy it to spy on you, the globalists have said with their medical tyranny that they're not going to give us any, like they sterilize us, but then come and say we have a technology so you can have a child. Right. But then they're going to get rid of traits that are bad in the child. That means build into it what they want. And so this whole thing is a medical mad scientist tyranny, and it's strap yourselves in. We're going to see some very, very crazy times, but we should do a whole special on cloning, because we're already eating clone meat, milk from cloned cows. They're doing cross-species weird clones. I mean, the sky's the limit. We're living in, this planet is like a giant biological weapons experiment or something.
Yeah, you don't know what's real anymore. Glitch says, as a child, I read Prisoners of Power. It's a sci-fi book written by a Russian duo. And the brothers back in the night, they wrote it in the 1960s. Since then, I've read the book many times, discovering new aspects of the world that they painted. In 2010 and 2011, the biggest sci-fi movie ever made in Russia came out in 2 parts. The name of the movie was Inhabited Island. And essentially, the story parallels many of today's trends. So probably some of the most notable of them are radiation towers affecting people's minds, propaganda, brainwash, etc. So I'm not sorry, I kind of lost my question. Can we find other articles that are like that? Is there any other like sci-fi movie or anything else that you've seen? I've noticed articles that, we see a cartoon that it's painted the future, etc.
Yeah, I mean, all these movies and culture show a dystopia. It's like, just get ready for it. That's what happens. In the future, the government says how many kids you can have. In the future, you're going to be watched and controlled, because eugenicists developed most of the modern technologies we have. They steered them. They controlled them. The robber barons and royalty believed in all this, so they've built the culture we're in, and this is the world they're taking us to. I haven't seen that film or read that book, but it sounds intriguing.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll follow up with that, too. Everyone, this is from Freedom Spear, and he says, everyone knows that having preventative medicine, surgery, and dental work, whatever, is not an inalienable right. And we actually touched on that in one of the last Ask Alex segments. Moreover, passing a law that mandates purchasing such services, products, anything else is completely unconstitutional and very illegal. We've covered it. What organization or enforcement arm has the authority to arrest the Supreme Court justices responsible for this illegal activity?
Congress can defund them. Congress, it's not really a separation of powers the way we've been taught. Congress is dominant. Then there's the courts. Then there's the executive. So there's a separation of powers, but because Congress is 500 plus people, it's got the real power. And that's why the globalists have sold it out and gotten it to be weakened and transferred into 9 justices they can control and 1 president and then a bureaucracy. But it's up to the states to nullify and not follow and fight. And it's up to us individually, because it's not like they're trying to give free health care to people that others pay for. These are eugenicist tyrants that are now using this to control people. So that's the main issue with the healthcare takeover.
The next one is from Thomas, and he says,
and what's the bottom one? We'll do this page, we'll do the other half tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
We'll do the 24. That's just about half.
We'll finish this this page.
I said I'd do 50, but my goodness gracious.
I know,
hey, I'm moving quick, though.
I'm very impressed. We should
I feel like I'm being interrogated, though.
Where's the light? Right over your head. If you don't, this is from Thomas, and he says, if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it, which I think is valid. My question is, you started talking about Vietnam, Yugoslavian wars, etc., and what was the real cause, I was wondering? And I understood the breaking news about the New World Order every day, but I would love to hear a history lesson from your perspective. So.
Well, I mean, it's not that the communists in Vietnam were good guys. Ho Chi Minh came to the CIA and the U.S. government and said, I want to set up a system with you, a free system. And they said, no, we're going to have the corrupt narcotics traffickers in the South still run things. We're going to prop up, you know, the Indochina French model. And so they turned against us. And the CIA staged bombings to blame the North to get the war going and put advisors in 1960, really 59. And the rest is history. But it doesn't mean, you know, the communist, Chinese then backing the northern Vietnamese. That doesn't mean they're good. It's like just because our government's corrupt doesn't mean Iran's good. It's like corruption across the board. As for Yugoslavia, I mean, you have Tito, who was a balancing force. They get rid of him. They break it up. They engage in the bombing of Belgrade with the depleted uranium. I mean, it's all just about destroying nation states that the bankers don't control. And as bad as Assad is in Syria or Gaddafi was in Libya, they're putting something far worse in. So when you hear about, oh, freedom fighters are just trying to protest, it's Al-Qaeda blowing up police stations and lining up black people in Libya and shooting them. And the media is like, oh, this guy might have said a word, we better fire him. But, oh, you're lining up blacks and shooting them? Well, that's nice. Yeah. And Bill Gates has a shot for the little black child. You know, George Bush is hugging one, the child's crying. You know, it's all just an AFRICOM invasion PR.
Yeah, they've done actually studies where the government has proven that, you know, they had this skepticism of advertising working, and I studied a case study in college on it, and it was basically they went in with the idea that it doesn't work, but obviously they know it works, and that, you know, they show George Bush with little children, like you said, and things of that nature. Anyways, side note.
But imagine how ridiculous it would be.
It's a Christie rant, you know.
If I had a black child come in here and then shot a thing with me going, I mean, people will be like, my God, Alex, this is ridiculous. But then it's George Bush and the photos everywhere. Meanwhile, AFRICOM is running in, just slaughtering everybody, arming the dictators. And they're doing it in North Africa and South Africa, you know, thousands of miles from Coney, who hadn't been seen in 5 years. And they admit, oh, yeah, it's transparent. I mean, it's just like...
Right.
I mean, the UN is in Africa, in Uganda, where they're talking about Coney, on record, lining up people and killing whole villages to take their property. And you go tell a trendy, they're like, look, dude, I got tattoos. I got all this. I'm like, okay, I don't care if you got tattoos. I'm not against those. They're like, look, I'm dressed trendy. Don't tell me Coney's not cool. And I'm like, but it's slaughtering people. And they go, dude, your hair does not look like mine right now. And I'm just like, okay, I understand you're super trendy and everything, but, you know, I mean, come on. And it's just like, and they're like, look, I choose to believe we're helping Africa. And I'm just like, okay. And they're like, be quiet, racist.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, all right. I mean, it's buying into the delusion. It's like, I'm a winner. I buy into the propaganda.
The next question comes to you from Husband and Dad. That's the username. Alex, you present yourself extremely well as a benchmark of civil disobedience. And there are a large number of activists that would do better if they were just a bit more civil. So could you, in your own words, define civil disobedience?
Well, I don't think I'm the benchmark of anything, really. But maybe alternative media success, but that's just because a lot of people aren't trying. Civil disobedience just means you're not Molotov cocktailing the police station. Instead, you're saying no to things that are clearly wrong and kind of peacefully sabotaging the system and putting yourself against the machinery.
Very succinct. I like that. Charles asks you, he says, Alex, my question is, could we abolish the Fed without the government's help, or is it impossible?
Yes, just like people are abolishing GMO foods by demanding organic. Mm-hmm. And none of it's perfect, but there's a process there, voting with dollars. That's why they want to get a tyranny in, because they're scared if we just vote with our dollars and our actions and the little things we do, it's over for them. It's game over.
Absolutely.
And so... yes, if everybody started doing more barter, that's why they're attacking all these little farms and Amish and these community co-ops and things. It really scares them. Getting back to old-fashioned activities in any way. Women, men, learning how to make their own clothes. That's one of the biggest things scares the system. I said that because you said your mom made that nice coat you got, a jacket, work, sports jacket, whatever you call it. I mean, they're really scared of that. Just the idea of little things cuts into their monopoly. That's what they like. Picture the New World Order as this giant box store that basically resorbs you or absorbs you. So, what was the question?
It was just, how to be civil disobedient.
Yeah, that's it. Just.
Oh, no, that was the last question. I'm so sorry. Destroying the Fed without intervention from the government.
You just criticize it. You expose it as a private fraud, that it's the biggest welfare recipient, that it's taken over our country and the world, that they brag they've conquered us. Look how arrogant they are. Let me ask you a question. What does freedom mean? What was the question?
It was just, how to be civil disobedient.
Yeah, that's it. Just.
Oh, no, that was the last question. I'm so sorry. Destroying the Fed without intervention from the government.
You just criticize it. You expose it as a private fraud, that it's the biggest welfare recipient, that it's taken over our country and the world, that they brag they've conquered us. Look how arrogant they are. And using local alternative currencies, they've got all sorts of them all over the country, all over the world. And just realizing they're the enemy. Obama comes, politicians come and go, but still the big fat bankers are sitting there.
I like that. Barter. Well, that's the civil rights movement was a huge part of that. They withdrew from riding the buses. And then they started...
Well, exactly. And also supporting local businesses. And it doesn't mean you're a purist, because you can't be. I mean, you can't buy a locally made Electro Voice microphone. I think that's made in Germany or Japan. I mean, this is made in Germany. Mm. And nothing against the Germans. This is actually a quality product. We actually hire some workers that actually, get something out of it, which is good. They put back in the economy. But buying local really does do something.
Or bartering. Anders asks, howdy, Alex. I like that's very Texas of you, Anders. If fractional reserve banking would be replaced by another system, what would it be replaced with? For example, an interest-free monetary system. Would that work in practice?
We debated that. It could be interest-free from state banks. I don't know about a federal bank, because that can always get taken over. But if you had state banks, they've had some big successes with that. And that's what we talked about in the first question, or one of the first, was this issue of people go, well, you've got Tarpley who's for an interest-free, system, but by a big federal bank, the Hamiltonian model. And then you got Ron Paul on over here, who is... talking about gold or silver back, so you can't. Any of these systems can be manipulated and gamed. It's mainly about a debate and monetary, people being informed monetarily, so that the systems, because they can corrupt any system. But if the people are informed about monetary systems, that gives a leg up against it.
Knowledge is where you start, and then it's action from there. That's leading to. Warwick asks, Alex, mainstream media is now openly reporting horrific things such as the idea of afterbirth abortion, thousands of elderly people being intentionally killed. Is this mainstream news, ultimately he's asking, is this showing that we're winning? Like they're actually reporting on something that we find to be true, or are they just kind of throwing us a bone?
I used to think that all this stuff coming out was victories. And a lot of it, and it's a mixed bag. Sometimes a reporter gets it through, an editor says it's the right thing to do. And I know in the last decade, that last 5 or 6 years, that really started, where people went out and did real reporting. Their boss backed them because maybe the newspaper editor's New World Order, but now their kid's autistic. They figure out this is important. Mm. They allow it out. So more and more people started getting the truth out. So the system kind of just went, okay, yeah, we're going to kill old people. What's the big deal? Yeah, we're going to kill kids up to age 3 if we want. So it's people telling the truth and hitting the barbed wire to get the truth out. Oh, that is a victory. But there's also a lot of just acclimating. Oh, you want the truth to come out? Yeah, open the floodgates, and suddenly in hundreds of papers, we're run by foreign banks, we're your slaves, you've been conquered by world government, there's nothing you can do about it. So see, it's kind of like the system's gone from denying all this because they realized people weren't listening to them. It was discrediting them, denying things. So they've kind of just gone to a now open the floodgates. Oh, you think there's some tyranny? Yeah, this is what you didn't know was going on.